My name's Matt Moscato. We're here on our launch for juniors and seniors this year, and very excited to have several discussions and move how we can move forward in our faith. Like I said, my name's Matt, and I've been working here at Nativity for 6+ years. This is my 7th year with the students, and this is Kevin Graziano, who's been with me since 6th grade. So this is our 7th year together.
Yeah, wow.
Isn't that? It seems like it's yesterday that we first met, right? So now we're going into senior year, and there's a lot going into senior year. Riding on that senior year, right?
Yeah. You have to find the perfect balance. There's a lot of things coming at you. There's a lot of things you have to let go. So you have to find the good filter, get the good things in, the bad things out.
Yeah. Balance is tough in life, isn't it?
Right about that, yeah.
Yeah. Is there a perfect balance?
I don't know. I think it's always changing, but you strive for it. That's something you strive for.
Yeah.
It's the perfect balance.
So in terms of that balance, like, what are a couple of things that are on the forefront of that balance as you go into senior year?
I think friends is big. As people get older, they're trying to find themselves, and as you see your friends kind of drift away, you also see new friends coming in, and you have to find the good balance in that. Some friends are being close to you are not going to do good for you. They're not going to be a good influence, and you have to also seek out the friends that are growing good and that can put you in a better spot than you were, freshman, sophomore year, so on. So.
Sure. Is part of that sort of thinking about who you might end up staying friends with after high school?
Yeah, it's tough. Especially because going into senior year, you're like, well, am I going to see these people after this year? So is it worth, getting into relationships with all these people and who the right ones are to develop those relationships with? But yeah, that's definitely a big thing to worry about.
What types of fear or anxiety maybe going into senior year do you have, whether it be with friends or academically? How does that relate?
I think senior year is a big time to prove yourself, especially coming off COVID years, especially my grade. Don't really have a lot of high school experience. So senior year is kind of like your year to prove yourself, to kind of, get yourself out there. And this may lead to, all sorts of activities and endeavors, but that could definitely be a fear of many people, is like, how am I going to put myself out there? How am I going to put my foot down? How am I going to put my imprint, on the people coming in? So it's definitely up there.
Are you concerned at all about, keeping up academically, like being that it's, there's something called senioritis that people tend to get sometimes, and being able to get the work done?
Yeah, it's definitely a big fear. It's senior year, it's kind of like you have all this stuff going on. You kind of push academics to the lower end of your priority list, and that obviously comes with senioritis and all that, and especially with who you surround yourself with. If they are also not focusing on their academics or their college or their future, you'll fall down that path as well. And I think it's definitely where that comes from. Senioritis, it's definitely contagious, I would say.
At what point in the year, or maybe some have already committed to college, at what point do you have to make that decision?
For college?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good to have it on your head now, but in terms of being set, I think you got time. I think people shouldn't rush themselves. College is a big deal. Never hesitate to take your time and make sure to ask people and get other resources and all that. But hopefully halfway through the year you got it down. Just an idea of what you want to do.
Yeah, I seem to remember when I was a senior, that was a big focus, and I was a lacrosse player, and I wanted that to be part of my college experience, and it ended up being a big part of my college experience. But trying to stay focused on the academics was difficult, especially once I got to a point where I'd already done all of my applications and my grades were reported in, and how much of my grades in senior year are contingent upon college, picking me to go to be admitted to that college. So, that's something I think that you have to keep in mind, is that you want to continue to strive to do better.
Yeah.
So, in terms of our spirituality in senior year, right? So how do we bring God into this conversation? How do we say, is God helping us through this?
Yeah. So obviously with senior year, there's going to be like tons of distractions, tons of negativity coming your way, and one of the best things for you is to find someone that will be there by your side 24/7 whenever you need it, and that's God. That's Jesus. It's kind of like when you're younger, you're like crossing the road and you're like scared, you don't like want to get hit, and your mom's there, your dad or your mom is right there by your side, like holding your hand. And in my life, God is like there. He's holding my hand as you walk through what this is senior year, as you're crossing the road, and eventually going to college. There's just tons of things that come at you, and God will be there for you, and just letting Him hold your hand and guide you the right way. I think
that's great.
Yeah.
And how do you engage with God or Jesus in prayer or conversation? We've talked about this over the years that we've known each other. What are your thoughts at this point going into senior year, and how you're bringing that in to do what you just said?
Yeah. So praying is obviously very important. Find times in the day that where you could set everything aside. Set your phone aside. No TV, no screens, and just kind of like be with God there for a second and just talk to Him. The other thing I do is kind of like, as I said, like God's always with you. You could be driving down the highway, walking down the street, playing your favorite sport, and like just having a conversation with God in your head, and it's just like He's there. If you have a question, if you're worried, you just kind of like spill it out, and you kind of get relief from it, and it's just knowing that He's always there is very important.
That's great. I mean, do you have any recent examples of how you felt like God might be, talking to you, with you through the Holy Spirit, or throughout your day?
Yeah. So when I tend to, when I'm on the drive to school, drive to work, having those like 5-10 minute conversations really just uplifts you. When you go through your day and you go through your life and you ask God for good things, and you go over and you thank Him for everything that's been good and what's led you to here, you truly realize like everything's like okay, you're getting through it, like you're still here. That's kind of like the biggest thing, is like you get I'm trying to think of the word, fulfillment, like you feel fulfilled, like you're successful, and you're getting somewhere.
That conversation is not only being heard, but more importantly, you're listening.
Yeah, you're listening to yourself, and it's kind of crazy to say, or kind of crazy to hear that, but like once you do it, it's definitely comes.
As you listen to yourself, you're listening to that message from God, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So something that we've talked about over the years is how do you have a conversation with God? You have to have a relationship with God to be able to have a conversation with God and build upon that. Mm-hmm. And in terms of the anxiety and stress of continuing balance through your senior year and having those conversations with God, it's really, really important to know that you can turn those anxieties over to God, and it's really important to know that they can be lifted, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about that over the years. So, we're powerless over certain things. And then, we know that there's a higher power in God and the Holy Spirit and Jesus that can remove those from us. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's something that you just said, where God's there. He's next to you. It's just a matter of knowing that and listening. This conversation that Kevin and I were having here has been fairly longer than we expected, and there's a lot more to be discussed. So we're going to break this into two pieces and stop it right here. And we're stopping here, but there's a whole lot more to talk about within group and in the future.